everything. And a what the hell everything for Thursday, February 18th, 2021. Get to talk to Adam Degi today.
I like that. I like funny people.
Also, today's the first day you were in the booth, the
Yeah.
news booth. We gotta name that booth.
Yeah, I feel like if we continue calling it boof, we're gonna hear like, why are you calling it the boof? But
And I'll explain why.
and I
Because
think
it's funny.
I think it's funny too.
Tim's in his producer news booth, the new station,
Yes.
which is 100 times better than the Smith Hole for doing as far as doing a radio show.
Oh,
Gotta tell you, man, woo!
For those intents and purposes, yeah, it's pretty cool.
I mean, it was great to do it down here, but you get out of the basement and you get in a studio that's brand new, overlooking East Bay. So many good vibes. Oh my God.
What a unique opportunity to do it from your house, but getting into this new place is pretty good.
Yeah.
I like it.
Adam Degi, comedian, I do believe Grand Rapids-based comedian Adam Degi, going to be joining us in just a bit. I wanted to get this dude on the podcast for a long time because he's somebody I followed on social media. He puts out the funniest viral videos, and I don't even know if I've ever seen him do stand-up. Just the videos themselves are hilarious.
I've seen the stand-up and some of the other viral stuff too.
When was the last time you did a comedy show? Adam Degi, how are you? Great to see you.
I actually did a show, last Thursday at a place in Grand Rapids called the Comedy Project, which is mostly an improv venue, but also do a little bit of stand-up. And they, just like everybody else, were closed forever. And I think last week was the first week they could be open again. But
how many?
Low capacity.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It was better than doing something virtual, but definitely not where it needs to be at.
I had guys on last night recording Six Packs on Mars. I had Matthew Zarilli and I had Josh Paul, and I was going to ask him in the podcast because it came up, and I can't remember why I didn't get a chance to ask it. But how's people's reaction to comedy right now? I don't want to say people don't want to be funny and they don't want to laugh. That's not what I'm suggesting. But are people taking? Are people hearing comedy differently now in the pandemic and all the shit that's going on in the world?
I would almost argue that the two shows I've done in the past 2 weeks, because the week prior to last, a few weeks ago, I did a show in Romeo, and I don't think they really believe in science there. So that place was like, there must have been 130 people, and I just don't care because I just had the COVID, and so I've got the antibody for another month or so. So it didn't bother me any, but there was a ton of people there, and I was really rusty. I mean, I was almost remembering jokes as I was setting them up on stage, and it almost felt like it was easier. Like, people are just so ready to laugh and watch comedy again that even as I was stumbling through, they were into it. But it also could be just because I'm incredibly talented, but
Yes and yes.
I doubt that that's it. I think that they were just ready to hear comedy. So the last two shows I've done since things kind of reopened, people, I think, reacted to myself and the other comics as well as they were before. So I feel like if you're leaving the house and you're going to watch live comedy, you're ready to laugh. I think a lot of people just aren't ready to go out yet. So.
You said you had COVID. Was it as awful as you would imagine, or was it?
No, I mean, listen, let's be honest. It's going to be really bad for the people you would expect it to be really bad for.
Right.
If you're older or already have a ton of health problems, or you are, obese, or all of those things combined. It was. Having said that, I'm sure that there has been multiple cases where somebody mid-30s, early 40s had a good bill of health and didn't react to it well. So I'm not a doctor. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. But
yeah.
For a few days, I was really sick, and then it was like loss of taste and smell. And then I actually had to get a CT scan, on the chest and whatnot because of other health problems in the past, and they found like acute pneumonia, which was caused by the COVID, but I wouldn't have even known it, I don't think, unless I just had to get these 3-month scans. So, I mean, I had some heaviness of the chest and some lingering effects. I'm starting to get back into the swing of things now, and my job is pretty labor intense and can be pretty physical, and I haven't had a problem. So I'm fine. I know a lot of people aren't, and they have really bad lingering effects, which I think is the worst part about COVID. It's not necessarily just the symptoms you have during it's the after effects, but it wasn't too bad.
So you haven't had a lot of after effects then? Not terrible.
Yeah, it was, like I said, just the lungs.
Yeah.
They're, I think some people, you know, have it really bad where they're still coughing shit up and having a hard time breathing. And
whatever, we're talking to people. We've talked to people where it's been months.
Yeah,
you know, they're still having shortness of breath like 6 months later. You know,
I mean, and I've also heard that a lot of people can't taste and smell for months after, which it's got to be really shitty. But it all depends on the person, I guess, and how your lungs take that shit. And
that's got to be the weirdest part is just not being able to eat and taste. I mean, I can't even imagine it.
For me, that was I was actually making a bunch of food on New Year's Eve just at the house, you know, because you couldn't leave, you couldn't do much. And I've got the same shit I make every year that I look forward to, and I go to like taste test it, and I'm like, are you fucking kidding me?
Just nothing. Just nothing.
Yeah, it just became a chore at that point. Like, I know your brain tells you what it's supposed to taste like, and you can kind of still, from the texture, know it tastes different than what other, you know, whatever else you eat. But yeah, you can't taste and smell, and that was the worst part.
Honestly, that sounds like that would drive me fucking crazy. That would drive me crazy.
Yeah, it was the worst. I mean, on the bright side, I did finally eat my wife's ass.
There you go. She's like, get COVID more often.
Honestly, I don't know how this is the first ass-eating reference we've had on this podcast.
Yeah. Probably also how COVID started. I think the bat thing was a bunch of bullshit. If somebody ate an ass.
Somebody ate a bat ass.
Yeah, that could be it.
I mean,
man.
that's the way to go.
With all the other shit on the internet and the weird niche fucking fetishes people have, that's probably a thing. People probably can't come unless they eat a bat.
Guano porn, is that?
Oh, cool. Yeah, man. Every time when I hear that word, it just reminds me of wasn't an Ace Ventura where they're eating the bat shit?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. There's at least 4 diseases they got from that movie, I think.
At least.
Shikaka.
How have you been keeping funny? Does that make sense to you? Like, you haven't been doing stand-up. I mean, you do a lot of fucking hilarious viral videos, which, by the way, where do you find those at? I don't know. Are they on your Facebook page, most of them?
Yeah, I've got a YouTube channel that I think 30 people have subscribed to, so it's pretty big. It's a pretty big deal.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah, YouTube, Instagram, all the social media. I mean, nobody else has the name Adam Degi because there's not a ton of Hungarians with that last name, so it's easy to find. It's on the internet, but I'm always an idiot. Like I
probably
to a fault try to be funny too much just at work and within conversations. I don't ever you're hanging out with comics and you can tell somebody's trying to bit you.
Yeah.
Right.
Where they're like, you're like, is this his act? I don't do that necessarily, but I'm always.
You're not like
who's that? Too seriously, and I actually have to I'm.
Who the fuck?
In like a managerial role at my day job, so I have to maintain some form of professionalism, or because these people have to take me seriously, and I almost have to be like an authority figure because it's a bunch of younger kids and shit. But I'm still an idiot. I'm always trying to be funny.
Who the fuck is who is the comedian? He's a Bob and Tom comedian, and he's always on. He's always in character. You see him backstage, and he's fucking Bob Zaney. You ever meet Bob Zaney?
Yeah.
Always.
God, I opened for Bob Zaney at a club in Philadelphia once, And he was kind of like that upstage, but a lot of comics too, you can tell if it's just you and them, they're fine. But when they get a group of people, they just turn it on, and then they're like that all the time.
Bob Zaney was my first introduction that I ever did on stage, introducing anybody.
Didn't he bust your balls?
Yeah, he
after
just made me hate myself for like hours.
Ball buster. I miss those guys, man. There's not a lot of those guys around anymore.
I had zero confidence, and he just helped that go rock bottom even more than it already was. It was
that's
pretty
not good, I guess. But I worked with Bobby Kelly once with Bobby Kelly, and he was like such an asshole, but a funny asshole. And at the same time, like he was a ball buster, but then he would take you out to lunch and dinner and pay for meals and shit. And then I remember he came and knocked on my hotel room door, and I'm on the phone with a buddy, and he's like, "Oh, let me say hi to him." And he takes the phone, he just hangs up and throws my phone on the bed. Fucking but I feel like it's an older school comedy thing is to kind of be a ball buster.
It's very Don Rickles thing. Not a lot of guys do that anymore. It's kind of a Don Rickles thing.
Yeah. He was also one of the last guys who could, as a straight white male, who could get away with just saying whatever the fuck he wanted. Because, man, you listen to a lot of his old roast and shit, and you're like, oh my God.
It was Louis C.K. until he started jerking off in front of women.
Yeah, come on, dude. Come on, Louis.
I know. Fucking ruined it for everybody.
Man, and in hindsight, too, when you compare him to... People try to put him in the same category as, like, Cosby and shit, and it's like, I don't know. I don't think we can do that.
I don't know. I think the simple act of asking permission counts for a lot. Oh, it's gross. It's fucked up.
Yeah.
We're talking about masturbating in front of somebody, or, essentially having non-consensual sex when they're not conscious.
Yeah, they seem different.
I still try to separate the two things.
A lot fucking different.
Yeah.
Like I'll listen to Cosby comedy stuff, and I still think it's funny, but there's always that part in the back of your mind going, but he is a creep. He was doing some terrible shit.
So much of a creep. But you don't think about when Thriller or you name it, whatever Michael Jackson song comes on. I mean, you're like, oh, okay, this is good. Or when R. Kelly. Are you familiar with Remix to Ignition?
Nope. Yes. My R&B history is.
But when that R. Kelly song comes on, I mean, you're like, this is my jam. I know he's a fucking terrible person, but you get these things.
Dude, I tried to watch.
Enjoy Kevin Spacey movies,
Yeah.
Usual Suspects is still good.
Even
though he may or may not have forced sex on young boys.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'm a terrible person.
Look, I'm not calling Ted Nugent a rapist, but I still listen to Ted Nugent. Yeah. You know what I mean?
I mean, you can't associate talent with morality, which I think too many people do. There's a lot of really talented people who were pieces of shit,
Yeah. I was reading about Ginger Baker, the drummer for Cream, the other day, and he burned bridges with every single person he ever knew, but he's still in all the bands that he wanted to be in because everybody wanted to play with him because he's fucking Ginger Baker.
Good drummer.
Well, that's the thing. If you're gonna be a monumental piece of shit, you also have to be uber talented. You can't just be mediocre and be a dick. That's why it didn't work for Matt Patricia in Detroit. Seriously,
true words.
The reason Bill Belichick works is because he wins Super Bowls. Like you just listen to him in a press conference and you're like, how big of a dick is he behind closed doors? I'm sure he's a huge dick, but he also wins Super Bowls. Matt Patricia tried to be that same level of asshole, but was winning 3 games. Like the players in the locker room aren't going to take that shit if you're not winning, So he came in with this like arrogance he didn't earn. And obviously it didn't work.
You really got to be an asshole to turn every player that played for you in the span of 3 years just to turn everybody on you and say, fuck that guy.
Was like the most, Stafford was the most, when he was interviewed, he's very like a politician about it, never said anything bad about anybody. And then you see the reports that he said he would literally go anywhere but New England.
Yeah, right after Patricia goes to New England.
Yeah, that says a lot about Patricia. So.
I want to bring up something to you that we talked about on the show the last couple days. Now, the headline on the story was they spent $99 to watch a movie in a movie theater with a pandemic. Basically setting it up, the author of the story took his family to the movie theater, spent $99. That's all it cost for tickets. That's all it cost for popcorn. And they were the only ones in the theater. They're like, this is the best fucking movie-making experience that I've ever been a part of. Just having the theater to yourself, essentially, is what they're talking about. Have you been to the theater? I don't even know if there's any open around here. In Grand Rapids, I'm sure there has to be some.
You know what? To be honest with you, I don't know. And I'm actually a huge movie popcorn fan. Like, I like that shit so much that I would, I remember I had a bucket and I would just stop in just to get the popcorn. And apparently...
You do that.
At one of the celebrations in town, you throughout COVID, you could go get like a big-ass bag for like $25 and they'd give you the butter and you could kind of just heat it up and throw it on there as you ate it. But I never got down there to get it. And I think they were open for like 2 weeks and then shut down again. And then I would assume they're open now at like, because you'd think the theater would be one of the easiest places to force people to social distance, because nowadays you have to like buy a ticket for an assigned seat most places.
Yeah.
So just have it every other seat. I mean, if you go to the theater with a guy, because we're all so inherently homophobic, like you won't sit right next to your buddy anyway.
It's been a year since I've watched a movie in a theater.
Easily.
Now that I'm thinking about it, holy shit.
Yeah, it's been a long time for me too. A lot of times when I was on the road, I'd find like there's a club in Iowa, it's called Penguins, and there's a super cheap theater there in Cedar that, you know, they play movies that have been out of the theater like, I don't know, a month before or whatever, but it's super cheap. And I'd go in there by myself and fucking get a bunch of snacks, watch a movie.
It's perfect.
I think the last time I went to a theater, I was on the road. I can't remember the last time I went at home, but I don't know. That's a good question. I'm going to look into it because I want that damn popcorn.
Honestly, are you the guy? Do you eat popcorn at the grocery store? I'm always trying to figure out who the people are that eat popcorn at the fucking grocery store. It's so weird to me.
Now with COVID, that seems like, and then you're touching the cart and then back.
Oh yeah.
I couldn't do that.
It's a bit much.
Pre-COVID, I'm not a germaphobe either, but that sounds gross. But actually, the last movie I saw at the theater was the Sandler movie. God, not one of the bad ones, but well, depending on who you ask, a lot of people hated this movie too. He's a jeweler. He's an idiot.
Oh, Uncut Gems.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, he's not a jeweler. He's just he is. No, doesn't he own a jewelry store?
He's a jewelry guy, and he just can't help but make terrible decisions.
Oh, yeah, he's a degenerate gambler. That movie, if you have anxiety, is not for you. I was on the edge of my seat, like, what's going to happen next? The girl in the movie is incredibly attractive. She's enough of a reason to see it. But that was the last one I saw in the theater, and I just remember being uncomfortable the whole time.
Man,
it was.
Is that I don't know is that on Netflix?
It is on Netflix now, yep.
Probably is, dude. It's worth the watch, man. It's entertaining, if for nothing else, that it's just gonna make you angry.
Why is it gonna make you angry? Why does it make you uncomfortable?
Because he's just his character, and he plays it really well. It's just like he makes terrible decision after terrible decision, and then when every time you think like, okay, he's fine now, he fucks up again. And I mean, he's an incredibly hateable character, just a complete moron.
It's just a 2-hour anxiety attack, like literally.
Like I said, you ever white knuckle it like in a blizzard driving?
Oh yeah.
You get done and your spine's all out of whack, and you just have that like sweaty.
So you watch it's 2 hours of just getting tensed up.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's awful, man. But watch it.
It's awesome. Yeah, it's awesome. I'm
trying to remember the last Adam Sandler movie that I watched that was new. Because I mean, I think it was because I'm a sucker, fucking some stupid reason. I'm like a sucker for Adam Sandler, Drew Barrymore romantic comedies.
Yeah,
yeah, whatever the last one was when they were in Hawaii.
most of his Drew Barrymore flicks
Blended?
are fine. He has put out a ton of, because I mean, he's at some point he decided that he was going to go the quantity over quality route, which is fine because people still watch his movies. But everything that's come out on Netflix through his like Happy Madison production company, they're all pretty bad. But I mean, if you just want a dumb, like turn your brain off, slapstick, you know, juvenile comedy, I mean, those are the ones to watch. And a lot of them are still pretty entertaining. But that wasn't his production company. It wasn't even a comedy. This is like a straight, like, I guess, suspense.
That sounds right. I actually watched one of his Netflix movies, the one where he's with Jennifer Aniston, and it's actually called Murder Mystery.
Yeah.
And there is no mystery. The whole movie, you're like, duh, and it's just stupid whole time.
I think that movie broke records for like most views in the first day on that.
Yep.
People still watch that shit. Plus Jennifer Aniston's hot. I mean, there's plenty of reasons to watch it. But yeah, it was. You didn't know who did it, I think, but you kind of had your ideas, and it was the same like plot type of whodunit that we've all watched 1,000 times. But,
it was Knives Out, just stupid.
Yeah, just
basically.
Exactly. A dumb Knives Out, and people watched it. A lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
Have you watched the new Wonder Woman? Were you able to make it through the whole thing?
I have not watched that. That's one of those movies where so many people shit on it in the first day that I just.
Well, that's why I want to ask,
really
because like everybody has such a different reaction to it. Like some people love it and think it's great, and then there's people like me that's like, what a piece of shit. I always like getting people's if they were a Wonder Woman fan or not.
I was never like a comic book guy per se, so I guess I don't get as upset. I mean, I have no set expectations from the comic.
Yeah.
So I mean, I just go into it with whatever expectations, and I'm entertained by the CGI and everything. But yeah, for whatever reason, people really hated that.
I want to ask you about Dave Dyer. I know you do a lot of stuff with Dave Dyer.
Yeah, man, I always call Dave my comedy dad.
How long have you known that guy? I've known that guy for 10 years or something. Every time they did shows with the station, I knew him through that. And every time he's got stuff coming up in Northern Michigan, I always talk to him. He's a nice guy.
I've known Dyer since he was Fat Dyer, which was, God, I probably started doing shows with him, I want to say 2000. I've known him for sure for probably, I think 15 years, but I didn't really start doing shows with him until after probably 2010, in the last decade or so. And God, it's been probably 7 or 8 years since he lost weight, I think, and started doing the firefighting stuff. But yeah, Dave and I go on the road a lot. We just enjoy each other's company, I guess.
Yeah.
And because once you've done comedy for so long, I mean, you kind of pick and choose who you go on the road with. Is this person going to be, bearable on a 14-hour drive to North Dakota? Which I'm sure I get on his nerves. I know I do. But
that guy is so inspiring to me. I don't know how he's got to be 55, 52, something like that. I think I asked him.
I want to say Dyer just turned 50 not too long ago.
Something like that.
Yeah.
But just the fact that, at 50, you're like, oh, I'm going to be a firefighter and just get in raging shape and just hitting weights. It's fucking crazy.
He's one of the rare people that legitimately, like, he wants, like, meaning in life, or he always says, I wanted to give back, and it's rewarding, being a firefighter, and he does like the positivity that people show him, because when you tell, it's not like, it's so funny, there's so many people who hate cops and so many people who also love cops and support them. I mean, I think anybody loves a cop when they need a cop.
Sure.
But firefighters, I mean, you'd be hard pressed to find somebody who doesn't love firefighters, which I always find it funny when I see, like, the blue line flag makes sense. Like, people are you're on one side of the fence with cops. But I also see like the red line flag where I'm like, who's not in support of the?
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is, because I only know because I've got another buddy who's a firefighter, and he's got it on his wall, and then I saw it on a few trucks around town. People have like the red line flag in support of the fire department, which like who's not in support of them? I don't know.
Yeah, what kind of idiots just standing there like, yeah, let my house burn. This sounds cool.
No,
like, abolish the fire department.
Yeah, fuck the fire department. I don't know.
And then, if you make fun of that flag, then you're an asshole.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I couldn't believe that it was even a thing. Like you said, you didn't know it was, but I guess it is. But Dave, yeah, man, he got in good shape in like his early 40s and has just continued to crush it. And then just I think was doing less comedy. His kids moved out of the house, and he wanted to do something with his time, and decided to join the fire department. And now he actually just got hired, I think just this week officially. He's a full-time firefighter in Muskegon, man. So he's all about it. He's still gonna do comedy, but now I mean he's gonna be, and he scored like he had like the highest test scores across the board, and didn't actually get the job at first, and then ended up getting the job. And yeah, he's all about it, man. I don't know how he does it. I want nothing to do with that shit.
No, because I keep telling myself, I'm 45 now. I keep telling myself I'm going to do that too, and I haven't got one single bit closer to anything resembling motivation.
Yeah,
It's not
nuts, man. That dude's got a motor like no other. He says he's going to do something, and then he does it. So good for him. I mean, I would never do that shit.
So how long have you been doing comedy? You said 10, 12. How long have you been doing it?
I want to say I started comedy in like shortly after high school, so 2005 or 6. I mean, I didn't really start doing comedy until probably like 2009. I probably didn't have a car in the beginning, but
Right, yeah, that was the kind of where that was going. Was when did it turn the corner? You know, when did you decide that was going to be a full-time or try to be a full-time thing? You know?
Like 2008 or 9. So it's probably been a dozen years. And in the beginning, I was actually traveling more, doing a bunch of shows at colleges before I even had the time. And I was because I was hosting a game show for this piece of shit who at some point owed me like 10 grand. I had to get a lawyer and ended up signing a contract where I'd get all my money if I did these other shows I was still supposed to do. But this, I tell you what, man, if you ever feel like comedy sucks, you don't know the pain of hosting the Real Deal crazy game show at like noon in the cafeteria of a fucking community college.
Oh my God.
I mean,
dude,
we're talking so fucking like, and at this point, like community college is a little bit better because there was people that were balding in my age, and it wasn't all just 18 and 19-year-olds, man. But I did the biggest school I ever did was St. John's in Manhattan, I think. But for the most part, they were all smaller schools nobody's ever heard of. Everywhere from like Texas to Tennessee, the Dakotas. I mean, a little bit on the East Coast. I did some shows in Jersey and Philadelphia, New York. But
is that game show on the internet?
For this guy, I remember I drove down to Texas on like the border of Texas and Mexico, and then I had to go to Philadelphia, and I put it in my GPS. And at the time, it was around noon. And the arrival time said like 12:19, and I was like, 19 minutes? And then I was like, oh no, 24 hours in 19 minutes. So I literally had like a 2-day, took me 2 days, you know, I drove as far as I could. And that was like my introduction to, you know, being a quote unquote road dog. Fucking awesome, man. And the money was good. It was the only reason I did it. It did pay well. Of course, I didn't get my money until fucking like a week or two after every time, so I'd always be waiting and behind. But I did it because the money was good, and then for every game show I could do like a comedy show at these schools too.
Yeah.
And it probably helped me become a better comic because I had to keep kids' attention for like an hour as I hosted this god awful game show. But man, it was rough.
Yeah, talk about paying your dues. That's
Yeah,
serious.
That's honestly,
Oh my God.
that sounds like one of the worst jobs of all time.
And
And
then
I
had to have
hosted trivia
cash
at
on
Right
me.
Brain.
It was so bad, man. I mean, it was just so corny, and the shit I had to have these kids do throughout the game show that was supposed to be funny, and like you started to realize only certain types of kids wanted to be involved, and God, it was just, and then I would have to just leave there feeling like a piece of shit, like what am I doing?
Now, did you have to do like the whole suit and tie and like, hey kids,
No,
like
as long as I had as long as I wasn't in a t-shirt and sweats, I mean, I would do it in just jeans and a collared shirt or, a polo, whatever I had.
Yeah.
As long as I didn't, because if you met or saw some of the people who did other shows for him, oh my God.
You're the star.
We're talking the bottom of the totem pole comics who were just probably needed the money for drugs.
anything.
And it was rough, man. It was really mentally rough. But like I said, I think that helped me as a comic because I had to just do something for an hour in front of an audience. And it was really hard to keep people's attention and make them give a shit. And if I wasn't literally handing out money, it probably would have never happened.
Yeah.
I'm paying you to watch me. You know what I mean? Like, there's just something about it.
There was like a spinny wheel and all these like mystery prize boxes, and then I gave him these corny T-shirts that said the name of the game show on it. Oh,
I basically did like radio
this is
remote
bringing up
events.
Really bad old memories, man. It was awful.
Adam Degi Comedy on Facebook. Is it Adam Degi Comedy on YouTube as well?
I think it's just Adam Degi.
Okay.
Yeah.
Uh,
I don't even know why I did the comedy thing on Facebook. I think I was just trying to create separation between the page and the personal page, which I deleted the app, so I just have the page now because if
Freedom.
I had to look at a Facebook newsfeed anymore, I was probably gonna park my car in the garage and let it run.
Yeah. I've thought about it. It's just I've gotten so close. I run so many pages and things that I could just delete the app and because they call it Business Suite now that you have to use for all the Facebook
See,
stuff.
because I tried to. I think if you originally made a page with like your personal page, you either have to delete everything.
Yeah.
Or keep the personal page. So I still technically have it. I just deleted it because there's a separate app just for page.
Yeah.
But to have the feed and stuff, I couldn't fucking have it. It was just mentally terrible for me and time consuming. So I got rid of that. And now I can post on IG and it'll just link it to the page.
How many?
Nice.
So you're not having any social media arguments anymore? You used to be pretty
Dude,
good at that.
Listen, it was a legitimate problem. Like my wife hated it, and friends would tell me, my good friends would be like, I had to unfollow you. I'm like, that's cool.
Oh, well, at least here's the thing. Like, I would see a lot of it. At least it was funny.
Yeah,
You know,
Yeah.
to me that means a lot. That's a lot.
Well, in my defense, I would always at least try to be funny for the most part. And then the ranting got better, and then I was off for like 6 months, and then I got back on before the election. It was bad. It was really, really bad. But for the most part, I was just posting jokes. And the thing is, the people that disagreed with me because of their views, if I was on their side, they'd think I'm fucking hilarious.
Oh yeah, 100%.
So it just came down to a difference of opinion. But yeah, I was at least trying to be funny. I mean, that was the overall idea or goal, was to try to make people laugh.
Made me laugh.
Yeah.
Made me laugh. Adam
I dug
Degi.
it.
3 other people.
It was honestly, it was great to have you on the podcast, man. Would like to get you on at some point in the future, and maybe Six Packs on Mars. You want to pop in there once in a while?
Hey, I would love to, dude. I'm gonna try to make it happen with the work schedule. But nice to meet you, man.
Good
You
to meet
too.
you.
Adam,
thanks for having me, gentlemen.
appreciate it.
All right, man.
Enjoy your day.
What is your? Do you got a Detroit 32?
Red Wings.
Oh, the Red Wings. Okay,
Yeah,
I got like an old bad boy.
Oh, the old Bad Boys shirt.
Oh, that's better.
I've got the I've got the little mini basketball with the Bad Boys logo on it. And it's all faded because I literally used it to dunk when I was like 7. I was like,
Dude.
yeah.
Hey, don't kid yourself. I'm 36 and I still play on a little fucking. I got this
Yeah.
Lions suit right here.
Oh my
Spirit animal.
It makes no sense to have a Detroit Lions football basketball hoop, but I still play, man.
It works, and
Notes.
you can dunk.
Note to self
Yeah.
and you that we need one of those for the studio.
They got us in trouble like a decade ago,
Yeah.
though.
You gotta watch Uncut Gems, man. Put yourself through that hell for an hour and a half.
I'm
That
doing
is
it.
correct.
I will. Next time I have you on, I will report back. I will give you a report.
All right, man. Stay healthy.
Appreciate it. Stay safe, man.
I do, in fact, like dunking on the little hoop. It makes me feel taller and
I
less
know.
genetically shortcoming.
It just makes you feel good to be able to dunk, you know? I don't care if it's right here.
It was at least a decade ago when Ryan, our friend Ryan, worked with us that we had that hoop in the studio, and
We didn't get in trouble from that.
I was told some years later that they considered firing all of us about that.
Are you
Stupid.
serious?
I'm totally serious.
Right?
Like, they were
Not-
like,
they were going to fire us, for Ryan and I, for playing hacky sack out in the back.
that was part of it.
Really?
Throwing the football in the parking lot.
Really?
Yeah, the whole athletic part of the job, they considered.
That's called bonding. It's called camaraderie.
I thought so too. They're like, you idiots, you get unemployed. But no, they kept us.
Yeah, go play hacky sack on your own time, fuck face.
So ironically, they ended up firing the only guy that was athletic at the time. If you think about it. Sorry, Ryan.
Zing! What the hell, everything? What the hell, everything?